For the last 2 decades, I've been working with people just like you, in their 50s and 60s, who are preparing for their retirement. But today, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about life. And based on hundreds and hundreds of conversations that I've actually had with retirees who have grown older now, and they're in their 70s and beyond. And this is exactly what they say if they could go back to their 50 or 60-year-old selves and give themselves some advice. So that's what I want to share with you. So if you're okay with that, give me a thumbs up and let's go for a walk on the beach. Number one is recognize the 3 phases of life. And don't miss that golden window where everything just aligns perfectly. And picture this, there's 3 overlapping triangles. And that's how many 70-year-olds describe it when they reflect back. So in your 20s and 30s, you've got endless time, you've got peak health, and you don't have money, right? And you're still building, you're hustling, and you're starting families, and you're climbing the ladder. Then comes midlife, and you're in your 40s and 50s, and that's where the cash starts flowing, and health is still solid, but how about that time? You just don't have as much. And it's squeezed by deadlines and kids' activities and all those other obligations that pile up. And then finally, there's phase 3. That's the retirement. And that's when time is abundant. But now the alarm clock goes off and the money's there. That is if you've planned well, but health might be an issue and the aches and pains and the energy levels, they might dip a little bit. But here's the magic. There is a sweet spot. That's the 4th triangle, and it's right in the middle phase of the 2 and 3. And it's usually in your late 50s and 60s. And you've got a decent amount of time, you've got money that's growing, and you've got enough health to chase those adventures. But as 70-year-olds look back on their life, I want to tell you the story that I hear over and over again. It's the regret of waiting too long. Now, a client of mine regretted waiting too long. He dreamed about hiking the Appalachian Trail, but he pushed it off for 1 more year at work. But by 70, his knees said, no, you're not going to do this. Seize the overlap while you can travel without worry, relocate without hassle, and build memories that last, which brings us seemingly to number 2, which is don't overlook 3 kinds of time. Now, there's career, there's relationships, and there's renewal, because ignoring the last one actually burns out the first 2. In that mid phase, the career time, it dominates. You got meetings, commutes, emails, they're all piling up. Relationships come in next. That's the family dinners, the weekends with friends, or maybe date nights if you're lucky. But how about renewal time? That's the one that 70-year-olds say they skipped on the most, and they skimped. So it's the stuff that recharges your batteries, your inner soul. The quiet walk on the beach, playing a pinball machine that you haven't played since college, or even picking up a guitar that you haven't touched in years. So whatever you can do to get back to your days of youth, that's the magic. Now, one retiree that I worked with, a former executive, he told me that he rediscovered the love of the beach in his 60s. That's after decades of the corporate grind. It wasn't just a vacation. He actually moved here. He was drawn by the vibrant energy that inspired him to be a better husband and a better father, and he found peace walking the beach, breathing the fresh air, and listening to the ocean's rhythmic waves. But that may not be your thing, right? So just remember to think about your time as a slice of pie. You know, the slice is too much for career, the rest of it crumbles. So carve out that renewal time. And carve out that renewal now, especially if you're eyeing a move to somewhere like Arizona or South Carolina, places with mild weather and outdoor pursuits without all the Florida risks. What renews you is the question. So pause and think about this. Maybe jot it down or put it in the comments below, because this is the transition to retirement that will make you feel like it's an upgrade and not a slowdown. Which leads us to number 3, which is master the art of saying no. Because your years in the first half of your life, you got where you are, but no one's there to protect that second half. Now, in your 20s and your 30s, saying yes, it opens doors. It's new jobs, it's networks, it's opportunities. But when you get 50 or 60 and your plate's overflowing, this is what 70-year-olds mention. They warn that saying yes to everything, you're going to miss out on what really matters to you. Now, last year, I had one lady who I advised. She said no to a promotion, and that freed her up to relocate early for lower taxes, warmer weather, and even room for the grandkids to visit. But it wasn't easy, but it brought her peace. And saying no to draining commitments and energy-sucking friends and even family events that just don't spark joy. So you really need to protect your freedom. And it's okay because it's your time. You've earned this. And number 4 is, if you're in your 60s, time wins over money every day. Here's how you know this. You can look back at your bank account, look into it, and you can see how much money you have in it. But you never know how much time you have left. And that's the old saying, time is money. Money can compound in your accounts, but time, it only ticks away. So if you're in your 50s, be ruthless. Outsource those tasks that drain you and you don't like. I mean, if you hate yard work, hire a service and use the afternoon for a long walk instead. Now, one couple I helped skip the DIY home repairs, and it freed up a massive amount of time for them to explore and try things in their new community and find new hobbies that they never wanted to do before. They just found these, and they bought months back into their life. That's what they told me. Here's a new twist. Invest in habits that actually stretch your time out. So start something new. Start with a simple routine like daily walks or meal prepping, healthy eats. It adds healthy years to your life and turns a potential decline into energy and fun. And the studies all back this up. It's consistent exercise that can add up to 7 years on your life. So don't just save money, save time. And number 5 is invest in your health now, because it'll extend that magic triangle that I talked about. Because the longer, healthier phase means more adventures ahead for you. And building on those phases, 70-year-olds, they regret not prioritizing wealth sooner in life. Now, it's not about extremes. Don't go wild. It's about consistency. I had a client in his 60s, and he started going to the gym and regular strength training after we chatted. And it extended the active years enough to relocate to Myrtle Beach for its warm weather and 215 days of sunshine and low cost of living, and ditching the New York cold that aggravated his joints. But it's more than that, because if you think about this, the mental health counts too. You may not even realize how boxed in your life gets as we get older. Open space, nice weather, sunny days, it all opens your mind. Think about it as compound interest for your body. And one new thing to try is to track your steps or your sleep with a simple app. You know, these small changes compound. It's the seemingly insignificant things that we do in our daily life, and that's the compound effect. And trust me on this, you're gonna thank yourself when you're exploring new towns without any limitations. And number 6 is build on habits, mental and emotional renewal, because a sharp mind is going to affect everything else in your life in a positive way. Physical health, it's key, but 70-year-olds, they emphasize this inner game as well. This is grief, the stress, the work, the transitions, even relocation worries can heavily weigh on you. Now, a widow I knew in her late 60s, she dove into that daily gratitude and joined many local community groups after her move, but it completely transformed her outlook and the way she felt in life. So if where you live is chaos and it scares the hell out of you, consider calmer spots, affordable places, nice weather year round, but less congested. Now, we all know stuff happens. You know, we all know that life throws curveballs, and being around other positive, it's like the GPS for your soul. And if you're around negative people, it's the GPS for your soul. You become a product of what you're surrounded by. And if you're around like-minded people who are positive people, it really rewires your brain for positivity, and it really does make your retirement feel abundant. Now, number 7 is, this is the one that I didn't get in my younger years, but I found out that what you put in is what you get back. And I'm not talking about just a little bit, I'm talking tenfold. And money just can't buy this. Now, I've got a crazy sideshow secret that I'm going to share with you.
Yeah, I volunteer at the Myrtle Beach Pinball Museum. Now, this is a crazy sideshow, but what I've learned is what you put in is what you get back tenfold. And it's not about the money, it's about the joy of sharing your passion and your skills. And growing up in the 80s, I loved the thrill of arcades and pinball machines. And now I'm helping preserve that nostalgia for future generations. Now, here at the museum, we create a space where families and friends, they can reconnect and laugh and make memories. And it's 100% volunteer run, supporting children's charities. And it's really taught me a lesson that I missed in my younger years. Building a legacy is about giving back, and it's a priceless part of your life. So go ahead and start now, and don't wait till you're 70 wishing you'd shared your time and your knowledge when you had that energy to make a real impact. Build that legacy of giving back, because 70-year-olds often regret not starting a meaningful volunteer work or a mentorship that supports local charities or coaching young professionals. These acts ripple beyond your lifetime. And that's when you're in your 50s and 60s. That's when you have the time and you can have the energy to make the biggest impact. And I'm not talking about money here, guys. I'm talking about sharing you, your knowledge, your skills, So what causes you to light up? Share it in the comments. Whatever your interest, I can assure you, you're not alone. I never knew how many people actually love pinball.
And number 8 is track your expenses, just starting today, because earlier retirement, it often spikes, Guessing just isn't going to cut it. We buy things and we have happiness, right? But 70-year-olds laugh now because many of them overspent on the go-go years on trips and toys. Then they started adjusting. You don't want to outlast your money and you still want to have fun. So just categorize: grocery, travel, housing. Now here's one client who had such a good time enjoying the 1,700 dining options here. She discovered that dining out actually ate 20% of her budget. So what did she do? She cut back and she funded several day trips with her new friends that she met. And she's enjoying 4 seasons without the extremes. Now here's a pro tip if you're moving out of state, because you want to factor in relocation costs up front. Interstate moving is no longer a couple $1,000, guys. It can be $10,000 or more. And many people have told me that selling their stuff where they live currently and then buying new stuff in their new life was a much better thing to do. And this information turns the vague dreams into solid plans, and you avoid those surprise fees too. Now, number 9, downsize smartly into a new home or a location that sets you up for aging gracefully while your life is still vibrant. 70-year-olds, they often talk about the trap, and they say, well, they're too old to move and they wish they'd planned their life to move a little earlier, trading that big high maintenance house, and then they move to a single-story living gem, something that's all in one level with no steps. And they also wish they moved to affordable, lively towns instead of staying where they currently live. So if you're looking for better options and looking for places with lower cost of living and lower taxes and a place with multiple hospitals and great health care, I've had many conversations with retirees who told us that they had initially moved to Florida when it was affordable and not congested, but they say they were trapped in Florida's hurricane-prone, high insurance costs. And it's happening. One of my clients, they moved from Cape Coral, Florida to Horry County, South Carolina with no state income tax on Social Security and a single level rancher near top hospitals and trails for their daily walk. No steps meant there's no worry as the mobility shifted. These areas are buzzing with community centers and book clubs and volunteer groups, perfect for making new friends. So think about what your future looks like, not today, but 5 to 10 years down the road. Now here's a pro tip. Visit potential spots for a month. Join the local events. Test that vibe. Ensure doctors and clinics are conveniently close to where you want to live, within 20-minute drive, just so you have that peace of mind. Here's the deal. Downsizing isn't just about the space. It's more about life. So what's your dream retirement town? Go ahead, drop it in the comments. And number 10 is don't just retire for something. Retire for something fun, especially when you're choosing your next chapter in life. Now, 70-year-olds who rushed into resting, they got bored real fast. I hear this over and over again. So explore your passions now. You want to volunteer or mentor or start a side hustle, or if you want to go into business, do it. But tie it to the relocation or the new spot that you look for. If you're researching hotspots, make sure it's suiting your vibe. Now, if you're afraid of Florida's risks and skip Utah's outdoors for low taxes and mild weather, or North Carolina or Virginia's Shenandoah, affordable and scenic areas, your game plan should include those visits and talk with local real estate experts as exploring what's actually coming into that area, what's actually going away, and addressing all the other questions, not the property related ones. The property related is secondary here, guys. Now, one of our clients, they moved and they found purpose and passion in teaching history at the college here in their new community, and it's really made their retirement so exciting. So think about it. What lights you up? Go ahead, write it down. But the big question I have for you is, has any of this sparked something? Go ahead, let me know in this video if it's helped you in any way. Go ahead, comment below and let me know what your top takeaway was. Maybe you'll save this video for later to rewatch or share it with somebody you know who could use this. I'm sure there's somebody who could. And let me know that you're really still watching. Give me a thumbs up. If you want more information on smart relocations and avoid the pitfalls that are costly, I've got many super helpful videos here on this channel. But just remember, today is your day. You've got time, make it count. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.